In this short episode, you're going to learn about the three different customer types. These aren't the usual three customer types you're used to hearing. They have to do with three different business models, the 10%, the 20%, and the 30% model. If you're interested in learning about these customer types, continue listening. Welcome to the Red to Black podcast with your hosts Werner and Mario. We invite you to like and comment on this episode because that tells the YouTube algorithm to share this with the world. Is the three customer types.
Yeah, Warner. So there is a guy or a gal that goes into a store and they are literally looking at the price of everything down to the ounces and figuring out, they're calculating, could I save if I cross the street and go to this grocery store, if I cross the street and go to this merchant, or if I go down the town. They're literally they're fabulous shoppers. These people are the most efficient at every dollar they spend. They get the most value, and everything is based on dollar out, how much did I get back? And there's businesses that try to appease those customers. They try to give them really good value for their dollar, but they're really tight. This is a tight business to operate. It's like, man, our customer bases our customers are real tight with the dollars, but we got to give them tremendous value. There's another customer, and I'll say I'm in this bucket, where I was loyal, man. I was loyal for a lot of years with Gillette razors, many years, the best a man can get. I started shaving in junior high school. I'm Italian, so started a little bit earlier. And I was loyal all the way up to when they were charging me for Gillette Mach 3s. They were charging me like 15 or 20. And I'm like, man, Harry's sells a German. I switched to like Harry's. I switched around. I found a good German. I'm not going to mention the brand. I'm not a Harry's guy. I'm just going to say I found a good German stainless steel razor blade for pennies on the dollar compared to Gillette. And then also they're going to shame me for toxic masculinity, which is pretty crazy. But I get it. A lot of females do the shopping in the household, so they still buy the Gillettes. But I was price sensitive. I was loyal. I was a loyal dude to Gillette. I love the Gillette Mach 3. I was a super loyal customer from junior high school all the way into my mid 30s, and then they tapped me out on price and then shaming me. I was a little upset with that, but I'm over it now. And then there's a third customer, and he does not care about price at all. He will buy the Rolex regardless of price or the whatever it is. It's a customer that's like, it doesn't matter to me. I want the best. I want the absolute best, and I'm willing to pay for it. And in fact, if it's more money next year, I don't care. I want the best thing. What is the best this? What's the best that? They're constantly looking at the best technology. They're constantly looking at what is the best one. And there's usually one or two players in that space in that industry. So there's like one or two really there's like one or two watches that hold their value. There's like two of them. There's two watches in the world that like really hold their value, and everybody's trying to get into that space and whatnot. But man, they raise prices every year. They constantly are raising their price, and the customers love it. Those are my customers. Those are the guys I like. Those are the guys I'm interested in. I want to meet their demand. I want to, and Yeti's doing this. Yeti's like, dude, we're just going to make the absolute best stuff in the world. Like, I mean, like a chair. I don't know. They just make we're going to make a 5-gallon bucket, but it's like, this thing could really, a bomb could go off inside of it. It's not going to crack. So, and they have customers that are going to pay for it. I mean, it's ridiculous to even talk about the price of a 5-gallon bucket when they sell at Home Depot for a couple bucks, but I like the customer base. I'm not that customer. I'm in the middle of those. But your thoughts on that, Warner?
So what you're talking about, the three different customers, I would say they all align with the three different operating margin businesses, and it has to do with what we've discussed before, the blue ocean versus the red ocean. There's a whole book called The Blue Ocean Strategy, right? And the difference between a blue ocean and a red ocean, in a red ocean, they're competing heavily on price. Now, as you go up from a 20% to a 30% operating margin, there's more of a blue ocean. There's more of like, imagine they're on this blue ocean and they're just operating by themselves, right? So let's give an example. The 10% operating margin business in the first customer you talked about would be like gas. Gas, I'm looking for the best quality price. Now, obviously that's going to be different if you're like a race car driver or an F1 Formula driver. That's a real small subset of the entire gas market. So everyone's competing on price and gas. When you're driving by, you're not really, unless you're focused on quality, which is a very small percentage. You're not really focused on, hey, is it excellent on mobile? You're looking for the best quality price. Now, number two, that guy who's kind of in the middle. Now we kind of get into the difference between Burger King, Wendy's, and In-N-Out. If you look at a company like Burger King and Wendy's, they have a lot of options on their menu. They have certain pricing, and then there's In-N-Out. They have less options on their menu, and they focus more on quality on just those few cheeseburgers or burgers and the milkshakes. That's number two. So they could kind of float. Those customers could kind of float. They have a real affinity for In-N-Out, but maybe if they can't get In-N-Out, they're going down to Burger King. And then there's your final customer set, which is like your Oracles or Watch, which is the best, in my opinion, best watch company in the world. I don't know if you've heard of them, Jaeger LeCoultre. Have you heard of that watch company?
No, I haven't.
They're the best, man. They hold their
All right.
value. If you want a watch, it's a craftsman watch.
So just for all the listeners, I wear a $100 G-Shock. It's my favorite watch. It's called a Casio G-Shock. I got the Frogman. So just for all the listeners, we're just using these as business examples. I'm literally wearing a $100 watch by Casio. It's the mud-resistant Mudman. It's the Mudman.
Yeah, so it depends what you're into, because a Jaeger LeCoultre watch, and I'm butchering that name, it could sell for $1 million. The best one, I looked at one of them, and the difference between that watch and the gas is there's only a few of them, and the design is like this artistic, unique design. If you look at the watches, they blow a Rolex out of the water. There's no questions asked. So for individuals that really understand watches, Jaeger LeCoultre is at the top of the pile, and they are a small watch company. They hold their value, and they have insane design, craftsmanship, and that's what differentiates a really loyal customer. It's supply and demand. There's not a lot of that supply, whereas gas, there's a ton of supply. That's how I decipher the three customers. I would say generally they filter out, from what you said, from number one to number three, from 10% to 20% to 30% operating margin. Now, I know that's kind of a generality. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, so just for the listeners, just a recap of what Warner is talking about is these different companies are trying to sell their products. They're trying to produce high quality products and sell them at the right price, but they're all targeting different customers. There's the customer that's very price sensitive, and there's people trying to meet that demand. There's the guy in the middle, that's me, who's willing to pay a good price, a fair price up to a point. He wants good quality stuff, but he taps out at a certain point. And then there's that third guy. There's that really high end stuff, and those are the businesses I want to buy. Those are the businesses that I really am interested in. I'm not that customer, but those are businesses that fascinate me.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. We invite you to get to know us by clicking on our LinkedIn profiles in the description of this video. Please subscribe, hit the bell notification for future updates, and share this content with your networks. Thank you for your valuable time and insights. We greatly appreciate it.